1010 XL 92.5 FM.
All right. Glad you're with us on a Monday. The new drug. Kind of like the old drug.
Morphine.
I need it. Frangie Carlyon, La Selva. I'm going to get to the picks later.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Well, have you ever heard this word before? Severance. Okay.
Oh, I get a severance?
I'm going to make sure you get a happy one, okay?
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
JJ, he kicked our ass, so I'm going to fire him. What do you think? You like that idea or no?
I think we need him.
Do you? I don't even like
Thanks,
it.
JJ. I wasn't expecting a vote of confidence.
he thought he was going to come along.
Yeah, I just figured I was like
Frank,
Billy Napier. And
well, everybody else seems to be
there's
getting
somebody
fired
actually defending
here, so
me?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. He kicked our butt in the picks. We didn't do very well. He did well.
Go Memphis. Because of the picks,
obviously because of the picks. What a weekend. You know the numbers by now. Florida State and the Jags are 1-7, and that's only because one of them got to play an FCS team. The Jaguars, I feel differently about them than the other two, and I'll get to that in a bit, but just a gut-wrenching loss. We'll get to the Gators and the Noles coming up, but I'll start with the Jags. Just a gut-wrenching, grab your heart, yank it out of your heart loss again in a totally different way. A week ago against the Miami Dolphins, the Jags dominated for 2.5 quarters, and then everything flipped and they let it get away. This game, they were dominated for 2.5 quarters, hit a big play down the field, and scratched back in it. I'm going to sound like a whiner, so that's okay. I do think Dearness Johnson set himself before he went back in motion. That's my opinion. I've gone back and watched it. I thought it was close, but I thought he set himself. That's a whine. I'm whining. I don't think the Jags lost because of that official or those officials' calls. I thought they lost because they got outplayed and beat. But that was another tough one. And again, I got a lot of thoughts about the Jags. I'm further from the ledge on the Jags than I am the other teams, but tough loss for Jacksonville.
Yeah, well, the other teams are dead. I mean, it's just a question of, how bad will the corpse look by the time you get to December.
Agreed.
The Jags still have life, and, but yeah, it was certainly incredibly disappointing because it felt towards right about the same time of the Etienne fumble in the Dolphins game, late third quarter, couple minutes left, and it felt like the Jags had gotten the momentum back. And for a second, you were like, well, maybe this will be the one they steal back, right, where there's a ton of errors. You don't feel great about how you played, but at least at the end of the day, you got the win to even up your record at 1-1. And you then move on with your season of, well, we had one stolen from us in Miami, but we stole one from the Browns, and they had ample chances. But offensively, they're just a mess. I mean, it was good to see Trevor Lawrence be so fiery. I think that's a step in his career that he needs to take. So I was encouraged, at least post-game, to see that. It was the first time Trevor has basically been like, look, if you can't handle criticism, then you're in the wrong business. So if I have to ruffle feathers, and he didn't absolve himself. I mean, obviously he said, I didn't play well either, and he's right. I mean, he played okay, but he wasn't brilliant, and he's being paid to be brilliant. I think defensively they have something. You'd like to see some turnovers start to get generated, but I think they have something defensively. But offensively, they're just a wreck right now. They're 28th in the league on third down. They're 5 of 19 at 26.3%. They're next to last in the league in sacks allowed percentage-wise. And, points, which is the name of the game, they're averaging 15 points a game. That's tied for 28th. I mean, they're way too talented. The ownership has invested way too much on both sides of the ball for any unit to look as pathetic as this offense has looked through really in the last 5+ quarters. Because, I mean, we're sitting there in the third quarter watching the Dolphins game, and I'm thinking about a 12-win season.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened and how they get it back, but they've got to figure it out fast because their toughest opponent is coming up Monday night.
Yeah, of all the numbers you went through, here's the one that matters the most. They're one of 8 winless teams in the NFL. There's 22 teams that have at least a win. They're one of the 8 that don't, so we'll get to that. Look, the Gators and Noles have played 25% of their season. The Jags have played 12% of their season. There's 88% of the season left. There's still time. The Jags lost on the last play of the game in Miami on a 52-yard field goal, and the game ended only after the last play of this game. I won't say they lost on the last play, but only ended after a desperation heave which he almost caught, by the way, was not caught by Brenton Strange. So they're in two tight games. I will give the Jags, as far as winning and losing goes, a little bit of a pass. It was going to be a tough schedule. The first four teams they played won 45 games between them last year. All four playoff teams, 45 wins last year, 43 in the regular season, 2 playoff wins. 3 of those 4 were going to be on the road. It was going to be a brutal, tough first month. So the winning and losing, which is all that matters, by the way, I'm not – if you'd have told me they would be 0-4 or 1-3 after the first month, I would not have been shocked. If you'd told me that in June and July, I'd hope not, but I wouldn't have been shocked by it. So the winning and losing. Now, you got to start winning, by the way. But I'm not nearly as worried at 0-2 as I will be at 1-5 or whatever. Okay, so I get that. The troublesome part, to your point, and by the way, I thought your column was one of the best you've ever written.
Oh, thanks.
Because I thought it hit it. We haven't seen that, Trevor. And that rather than just a column about what happened in the game and here's, I thought pick something. A good columnist picks something. Pick something that grabbed you in the game, and I thought you did or in the aftermath of the game. That was really good. If you haven't read Hays's column, it's called a blog, but it's really a column. Old guys call them column, okay? But Hays's column / blog on the game, the column was about Trevor and about not how Trevor played, but the leader that might be growing up right before our eyes. He's always been a good leader. The fiery, edgy leader.
Grab you by the face mask, which is what all great franchise quarterbacks have in them.
And it looks like that might have been step one of that, which is necessary. And so I really thought it was fair. Again, go read Hays' column. It was really good.
Thanks.
But what's bothersome is there are offensive pieces. I will be honest with you. I am really concerned about the line. I think a lot of what's gone wrong is the timing of the line. Should there have been a check down on the safety? Sure. And if there was, I didn't see it. And there should have been. But you all know by now, you all watch tape, you all watch the game, you all are all over Twitter. If they block the defensive tackle, it's a 98-yard touchdown. That's now if
the ball's thrown well and Thomas makes the catch.
There's a lot of
easy score.
But But if they block the guy, there's a pretty good chance it's a 98-yard touchdown.
Correct.
If you did not see the video, it's all over the internet. It's all over Twitter. Brian Thomas Jr. made a double move. The guy bit, and the safety was on the other side of the field. It's a 98-yard touchdown. So. But anyway, we'll get to that. But again, that's it. They lost the game. I'm not going to make excuses. You can't keep losing. You got to start winning. But it was going to be a tough first 4 games. The concern is the offense, which can't find any rhythm, and I think has good pieces. I can't find any rhythm. I mean, there are good pieces. Hays, the point you made. This Brian Thomas Jr. guy
looks like a great pick.
How he lasted till 23 now. You talk about underdrafted. If it's what it looks like he is, and look, he's not going to be perfect. He dropped a slant a series later, but if he's what it looks like he is. So how do you fix the offense? I'll give you some thoughts on that. We'll talk all about the Jags coming up. I am incredulous about the Gator decision at the end of the game. I don't know if they were going to win the game anyway. Probably weren't. You needed a touchdown, onside kick, blah blah blah. But I'm rooting so hard for Billy Napier. I know people, why would you root for him? I'm rooting for him because I think he's a good guy. I'm rooting for him because I think he tried. I root for him because I was one that thought he was a good hire at the time. I was rooting so hard for Billy Napier. I really was. Billy Napier's not the guy. And I understand why you don't make the change yet, but it's pretty clear now that he's not going to ever have that knack. He's not ever going to have the understanding and the know-how of how to do it. And I'm surprised by that. FSU, their season is just like the Jags. Think about it. Their opener, they lost on a long field goal on the last play of the game, just like the Jags. The most recent game, they were outplayed most of the game and had a chance on a Hail Mary on the last play of the game, just like the Jags. The only difference is they played one other game. So the problem is in college football, 3 losses, your season's over. Pro football, you're just getting started.
Yeah, and you may see that Florida State Boston College result when the Jaguars go to Buffalo a week from today.
You could. You certainly. That's right. You certainly could. So, but those seasons are very parallel. So we're going to talk about the Jags. We're going to always start with the Jags around here. You're going to hear from Bucky Brooks. He'll also talk some Jaguar football. That comes up at the top of the hour. We'll hear from some So some sound and some thoughts from the Jags. We continue along here. We'll get to the Gators. We'll get to the Noles. Oh, boy. A lot to talk about. Gators, Noles, and Jags, 1-7. 1-7 as we start this.
We're all in this together.
September
We're going to
16th.
make it.
Let's talk some Jaguar football on 1010XL, our Monday show, always brought to you by our friends at The Best Bet. We sure appreciate The Best Bet. 3 great locations in town, man. St. Augustine's that brand new location. Monument Road's the Jacksonville location. Orange Park, they are on US 17. Thank you to The Best Bet for always sponsoring our Mondays. Mondays are lively around here. Always The Best Bet Monday. This is 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done, like a brand new Silverado 1500. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado, or well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 1.9% financing and no payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. Now, with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. Remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $2,250 in trade assistance. You want an even better deal? Ask about demo models for deeper discounts. Shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership conveniently located at Park Street in Castle. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick.
If offense and defense don't win the game, sometimes it's up to the special team.
And here comes the field goal team. They've got to hurry.
After the game, catch the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally on 1010XL.
Chose C for Hard Rock Bet. It's the sports book for every kind of player. Straightforward, simple enough for the first-time bettor, but built with all the features experienced players expect. Plus, try it now. If your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $100. Easy deposits and fast withdrawals. PayPal, Venmo, and more. All you have to do to get started is download the Hard Rock Bet app. Go online, hardrock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hacker here, and I've got something to celebrate. Honestly, I never thought I'd be able to say this. I'm on the countdown to dropping 100 pounds. Yes, sir. 90 pounds already, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss, and I'm just 3 weeks away from hitting the big 100. The best part? I'm reaching that 100 mark in months, not years. Life-changing and life-saving. No doubt about it. I had pretty much given up on trying, but now I'm going to be here for my son, my wife, my family, and most importantly, for myself. I'm living my life to the fullest, and I didn't know just how easy it was to make happen with Awaken 180. When I hit that 100-pound mark, we're going to celebrate big. I'll keep you updated every week as I get closer, and you can even join in on the celebration. Details to come. In the meantime, pick up the phone and make your own 180. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. Woolsey Morecambe is your MVP in the legal game. Our team of skilled attorneys tackle personal injury cases with compassion and expertise. With fumbles like a car or truck accident, we're here to seek the compensation you deserve. Right here in Jacksonville, we've successfully won over $100 million and earned a championship-worthy record. When it's game time, you want a team that plays to win. Contact Woolsey Morecambe at 1-800-WOOLSEY. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say,
"What? Huh?"
I'm so over this.
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Tiffany Mapp in Jacksonville at 683-8368.
Whether you're navigating rush hour traffic or heading to the home team game on the weekend, remember, drive cautiously. If you find yourself in a fender bender, don't ignore those aches and pains. Injury Care Centers is there for you. Skip the urgent cares that treat colds and flus. They're not equipped to handle injuries. Go straight to Injury Care Centers. Call 904-783-0008. That's 904-783-0008. Drive safe, think Injury Care Centers, and go team.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
A meal and sparkling conversation.
Helmets and heels.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Just behave, okay?
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a dust bunny breeder from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Steve Johnson. Welcome to the show, Steve.
It's great to be here, Alex.
Yeah, you don't have to answer in the form of a question, Steve.
What is this game show?
See, that's another question.
Are you going to ask me about air conditioners?
Yeah, okay. How about we just send the Bueller guys over and you can annoy them with all your questions. Johnny?
That's right, Steve. Bueller Air and Plumbing can answer all your air conditioning questions.
1010XL.
Repair options, replacement models, and how to make your AC last longer while saving electricity. Making sure you are cool.
Where is the parking lot?
You're killing me, Steve.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Big Chief Tire makes auto care affordable with 6-month financing on their CFNA card, plus $50 off your next service. Frank Frangie here. With no interest for 6 months, now is the perfect time to take care of your vehicle. Whether you need new tires, brakes, or general checkup, their skilled technicians have you covered. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to learn more and schedule an appointment at one of their 5 locations. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Frangie Carlyon, La Selva with you. Jags lose 18-13, a bizarre game. Couldn't get Cleveland off the field. Other than that, I thought the defense held their own. The offense can't get anything going. A bunch of thoughts about the offense. Let's start with that. I think they're striving for balance. I think that's the goal. You got to run it in this league to have a chance. You got to be both. You can't be one-dimensional. And I think when you're trying to run the ball, you don't play with tempo, because running teams don't play with tempo. Passing teams play with tempo. Teams that pass first and run second play with some tempo. So I think they're methodical by nature. That's where they seem to be. When you're methodical, you stay in the huddle for a while. If your communication isn't good, you may be in the huddle too long. We saw that a number of times yesterday. You're trying to run it. Your most physical back never played a down from scrimmage. He got hurt on the opening kickoff. He's your most physical back. I thought Dearness Johnson ran hard. I thought Etienne had some moments. But you want to run it. You want to have some balance. And I also think it's hard to do that when you don't have a particularly good run-blocking offensive line, and I don't think they do. So I would think when that game turned a little bit yesterday is when the Jags went to some tempo. I think what they have to do, and again, you can't just say, screw it, we're going to become a run-and-shoot team. We're air raid. It doesn't work in the NFL. I know that. But I do think throwing it more, playing with some tempo, not all the time, but being able to change tempo enough that the other team doesn't know if you're playing fast or not, letting Trevor go, let him cut back and cut it loose, throw more passes, throw more down the field. Look, you got something special in this receiver. I don't care what anybody says. Think about this. The Jags have scored 3 touchdowns, right? They scored 3 touchdowns this year. Of those 3 touchdowns, one was set up when Brian Thomas Jr. ran right by 7-time Pro Bowler Jalen Ramsey, and Ramsey had to tackle him for interference, and they scored a play later because they had the ball at the 1-yard line. The second touchdown was him catching it in the back on a great throw from Trevor and tight-roping the end line. The third touchdown happened on a miraculous play by him when I thought the ball was overthrown. I'm calling the game. I said, I'm about to say incomplete. Thank goodness I didn't, because he stretched out at the last minute, made the catch, and that led to they only scored 3 touchdowns. And he has had a big hand in 2 of those touchdowns, or in all 3 of those touchdowns, scoring 1 and a big hand in the other 2. You've got something there. You've got to throw it down the field. You've got to soften the defense. If there's one thing I would do differently, because I still think they have a good team. Again, I'm not making excuses. I'm telling you the fact. The facts are, against 2 11-win teams from last year, against 2 playoff teams from last year, they got beat essentially on the last play of the game and a game that came down to the last play of the game. So they're not far off. They've played 12% of their season. It's still all there. I know people want to talk about how awful and fire and what. They're still there against 2 pretty good teams. The bottom line, though, is if they keep trying to do it the way they're doing it offensively, I think it's a problem. I'll say one thing about my friend Steve Spurrier. One of the best things about him, one of the things that I thought stood out, and I've never thought about it or hadn't thought about it until he commented last week. If it's not working, change it. One of the biggest mistakes football coaches make is they're tough-nosed, old-school guys, and they just keep doing what they're doing because this is the process and this is the work. We'll get to Billy Napier next segment. The coaches that are smart, and I think Doug Peterson's a smart coach. I think he's a good coach. I think he will make some adjustments. But I think throwing it to set up the run, quit getting so caught up in balance. You know the teams that run the best, in my mind, are the ones that throw it first.
Right.
And then they run it late in the game when they have a lead. I think that's how you achieve balance. I'd like to see him throw it more, go to some tempo, go to more wide receivers, get out of the huddle fast, go no huddle. Again, you can't do that all the time. You can't say, well, we're going to be the air raid. It doesn't work in the NFL. But you can attack more than they have, and you can go to tempo more than they have. And I think that's, to me, with what I think is an average offensive line and not a particularly good run-blocking line. I think we've seen that. That's how I would play it.
Yeah, I think it's a good suggestion. And, it'll be interesting to see how Buffalo covers the Jaguars because, to your point, through 2 games of tape, Brian Thomas is the guy you have to stop, that you have to have a plan for. We'll see if Christian Kirk can get going, but through 2 games, he has 2 catches for 29 yards. We don't know about Evan Ingram. Doug said today that, it's sort of week to week. Obviously hurts his hamstring in pregame warmup. But yeah, I mean, and I thought Brenton Strange played well. And Doug said today that he was pleased with what he saw out of Brenton Strange. So yeah, to your point, I mean, you've got Gabe Davis, you've got Christian Kirk, you've got Brian Thomas. At some point you'll have Evan Ingram. You like maybe what you're seeing in former second-round pick Brenton Strange at tight end. You thought Parker Washington, had a good camp. He had a drop yesterday on a basically a bubble screen. But yeah, I mean, you've got the skill to do that. And oh, by the way, you just committed $250 million to your quarterback this offseason. So yeah, why not put the game more in his hands? And look, I think it's a perfect time to make that change because I think your franchise quarterback told you yesterday, I am ready. I am ready for this, and I am ready to hold myself accountable and others. So put it on Trevor's back. I mean, give him that chance. Certainly you have Etienne, and yeah, you want to mix in some run, but I mean, and we'll see. Tank Bigsby will be fine. So yeah, I mean, Tank looks good running the ball. It's not that the run game doesn't look good, so go away from it. It's just embrace what you have. You've built a roster. You've built an offense that looks like you're much better off doing short, quick passes with the occasional shot to Brian Thomas. And give Brian Thomas, ways in which he can catch the ball and run after it. They tried yesterday, to your point, he dropped a slant. But there are pieces here for this offense to work. I think that's why it's so frustrating that you look up in 2 weeks in, they're having the struggles that they're having. Now, again, had they opened with Carolina and, Denver, then we might be having a totally different conversation today. But they didn't. They opened with 2 good teams, and they were close but didn't get it done. And in the NFL, that leaves you out of the tournament. So, I would say minor adjustments. You have some bonus days this week, but I'm all for it. It's almost like they're overthinking it. So maybe the tempo, maybe that's part of why it helps them because it just sort of speeds them up and speeds up the operation. And maybe that gets all 11 playing with a little bit more cohesiveness. Because, I mean, right now it just seems like literally they break the huddle and somebody asks, okay, is it my turn to mess up this play or is it your turn? He messed up last play, so it's not him, but is it me now or is it you?
And they break the huddle late.
Oh,
the communication, the timing.
Right.
They seem, and again, I don't think it's a very good line. I think even when Trevor has a clean pocket, it's not clean very long. It's not. Look. The Browns did not have their tackles yesterday, so I thought the Jaguar ends would have more of an effect defensively. What the Browns do have is 2 all-pro guards who have been to 11 Pro Bowls between them, and in Posick, a pretty good center. So they've got the middle. They have a pretty good middle. We focus so much on the fact that the tackles were out. They got a pretty good middle. I don't think that's where the Jaguars have a concern. The league talks a lot about tackles. Tackles are the glamour position. I mean, you have to have those guards in center. You have to be physical in the middle.
Yeah, and I mean the Jaguar tackles stunk yesterday too, so it was across the board for them. But yes, I mean, it's just again, and I just don't think you have much of a choice. I mean, I think you've got to put it in Trevor Lawrence's hands.
Right.
And again, maybe you do try to emphasize more quick stuff to help your offensive line out a little bit. But look, you've got Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis, and certainly I think Christian Kirk is eventually going to find his form. Hopefully Evan Ingram will get healthy and get back out there. But you just have too much talent out there to not. And let's get ETN involved more in the passing game as well. I mean, to me, that is an underutilized weapon for them. You know, ETN to me should be somebody that's targeted 4 or 5 times a game. And those should be high completion percentage throws. So if you're throwing it to him 4 or 5 times, stands to reason he's going to catch 4 or 5 passes. He's out in space. I mean, to me, that's where it needs to go. And to your point, operationally, they've got to speed it up. Whoever is calling the plays, do it faster. They've got to get in, get it signaled. And to Trevor's point yesterday, look, you can't be asking me once we break the huddle what the play is.
Right.
Listen when we're in the huddle. That's the point of the huddle.
And that's exactly right. And so more sense of urgency, play with some tempo. They got to go find a win. They've got to go find a win. And you're right. It doesn't matter who you play. You are what your record says you are. Right now, they're an 0-2 team, but they've got to find some rhythm. We'll talk about the things that went well later on. Defensively, they're playing pretty well. Monteric Brown, Matt. Now again, Deshaun Watson isn't what he once was, so he's not playing against a rifle arm quarterback. He was good yesterday. He played the whole game. He was good yesterday. So defensively, they're doing some good things. So, but the Jags, that's my recommendation: more tempo, put the ball in Trevor's hands. Again, balance will come eventually, but without your downhill runner, there wasn't going to be much balance yesterday. I really didn't think there was. Hopefully, they'll throw the football more, play with a little more sense of urgency. We'll talk more about the Buffalo game as we get closer to it. Let's talk Gator football and Seminole football. We come back. Boy, tough day for the Gators again. Yet another weird day. I'll give you my thoughts on Florida football, as will Hays after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our 2 blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where you can score big all season long.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Embrace the start of football season with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, and check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 6-point underdog at Buffalo. The over-under is 46.5 points. The Gators are a 4.5-point road favorite against Mississippi State. That line's all over the board. So it's 4.5. It could be 6.5. It could be 2.5. That one's going crazy. The Noles are a 2-point home favorite over Cal. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie, and don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Hey Googans, Dr. Chris Kopp PT here with Premier Physical Therapy of Jacksonville. Is pain interfering with your life? Looking for a specialist for the rehab of your young athlete? Whether recovering from injury, surgery, or improving overall function, Premier PT Jax provides personalized treatment with compassionate care. My team of experts are ready to serve you at 3 locations: Ponte Vedra, San Pablo, and US 1 Phillips Highway. Visit PremierPTJax.com or call 904-996-6922. PremierPTJax.com, where your journey to wellness begins.
Post-Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. With so many messages, we know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. We'll help you find doctors to get you better, and we'll work hard to maximize any recovery. Visit our website and look at our reviews to see how we've helped people just like you make this important decision. Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
Universal Roof and Contracting has been protecting Florida homes from the elements for over 30 years. Call Universal Roof and Contracting today for a free roof inspection and get 15% off your roof repair or replacement. Plus, flexible financing options and payments as low as $115 a month. This offer expires September 30th. Call 855-ROOF-HELP.
License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. Okay, you've decided it's time to sell your home. How do you go from a problem to a promise? Listen, there are problems that come with selling one's homes, but with the promise of ChadandSandy.com, you're going to get there, and you're going to get there in the best possible way. You see, here's the promise. Your home sold, guaranteed, or they will buy it. So go to ChadandSandy.com. Listen, lots of stories of proof out there. We're going to get to those in just a second. But maybe you need more space for your office or growing family, or you're worried about costly repairs. Chad and Sandy are the local real estate experts you can trust. We recommend them for the sale of your home. They guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price. By a deadline, or they'll buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. You get it all with Chad and Sandy. Don't believe me? Ask Stephen and Marlene in Eagle Hammock. We needed to move quickly to Ohio to be with family. We heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio, and all we heard is true. Call Chad and Sandy today or go to ChadandSandy.com.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1-mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at MacKenziesRun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. MacKenziesRun.org.
Start your week by talking teal with Tony. Hall of Fame Monday with Tony Baselli. Monday mornings at 7:20 with Dan and Jeff on the drill. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida. Hall of Fame Quality Roofing Solutions on 1010XL.
Florida homeowners are going to extreme lengths to stay cool this summer.
We sit in front of the refrigerator with the door open and only eat frozen foods while they're still frozen and put ice cubes down our pants. Whoa, that's cold.
But the most popular and cost-effective way can be summed up by a quack. Just call Duck Duck Air Conditioning. For AC repairs to new installations, you too can beat the Florida heat with Duck Duck Air Conditioning, Jacksonville area's AC experts. Trust the Duck to keep your cooling costs low. DuckDuckAC.com.
This is a one-of-a-kind Gabriel fashion sale.
Rings, bracelets, earrings.
All new for 2024.
For 3 days only.
September 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. Don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about putting your worries in the right bucket. So often we put our worries in our own bucket, but many times they need to be in God's bucket. The Bible says, present your problems always to God. In other words, leave them in God's bucket. Understand that no matter what is out of your control, it's never out of the control of Almighty God.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars' second-round pick, Mason Smith, was a surprise inactive on Sunday against Cleveland. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson this afternoon explained why.
You got 53 players each week, and I get a chance to select the 48. And obviously, I visit with the defensive staff, and it kind of goes, too, off of the prior week. So it's not necessarily what Mason did. I think guys like Big O and Jeremiah also had good weeks of preparation and practice, and it's just an opportunity for Mason to learn and put himself in a position this week to try to be elevated.
Doug Peterson this afternoon. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
We thank our friends for the Best Bet. 3 locations on the First Coast: St. Augustine, Jacksonville, Orange Park. Man, they have all kind of fun games. You head to the Best Bet, all kind of fun stuff is always going on. The Ladies International Poker Series Lips returns to Best Bet Jacksonville. That's coming up this weekend, the September 20th through the 22nd. That's going to be an awful lot of fun. And by the way, don't miss the free poker seminar with Lip star Linda and Jan Saturday. That's coming up this Saturday, September 21st at 11 a.m. Man, they have fun stuff going on all the time. That is at Best Bet Jacksonville on Monument Road, and that comes up this weekend. So head over and see my friends at the Best Bet. All right. Here's the bottom line about Florida. Billy Napier's overmatched. He's going to get fired. We know that. I can't imagine that he won't. The noise is deafening out there.
It would be shocking if he doesn't end up getting
And hey, hope if they turn it around, they turn around. I'll get to that in a minute, but it doesn't look like they're going to.
No.
Here is the most damning part to me. I don't know, Hays, whether it's recruiting and he just missed because he came in as a good recruiter. If it's the portal guys and he got the wrong ones. If it's the strength program, they've been in and out of a bunch of strength coaches. One guy left. I think 2 of them are gone. One of them is at hockey. Mark Hockey was his friend, and he still has a job there, but he's not the strength coach anymore. They have what we knew all through the 90s and the 2000s and even before is Vanderbilt-level football players. They have fewer good football players than just about anybody they're going to play. I knew before that game started. I picked it 37-16, and I would have laid those 4 so fast your head would spin. I thought they would win easily against Florida, and they're playing the backup quarterback who hardly ever played, and Florida could never tackle him. They couldn't cover him, they couldn't tackle him, and Florida's receivers couldn't get open against them. Somehow, and we'll get to Napier and the quarterback decision and the fact that he didn't stay with Mertz at the end. I'll get to that in a minute. But Florida has become Vanderbilt. I never thought in my lifetime I could see that. I thought their talent would be down a little bit, which would make them an 8-win team instead of a 10 or 11-win team. I thought in some real extreme years they'd be a 7-win team. When Ron Zook was the coach there, they always had pretty good talent. He didn't inherit great talent, but by the time he left, they were loaded. They were an 8-win team on their worst years. Will Muschamp, other than the 1 year, they were a 7 or 8-win team in their worst years. Jim McElwain, despite all that was wrong with McElwain, had 2 10-win seasons, and he won the East both times. Dan Mullen, who gave up, lost some interest in recruiting down the stretch, but made them a really good football team with a really good play caller. I can never remember looking up at them and thinking they are Vanderbilt. Realistically, I will bet you could, with the exception of possibly Arkansas, not even Vanderbilt, in my opinion, maybe Vandy, but really with the exception of Arkansas, this game Saturday might be for the worst team in the league. Mississippi State just lost 41-17 to Toledo. Freaking Toledo came in
thankfully there. Isn't coming to the Swamp this year.
Right. The Rockets came in there and hung 41 in Stark Vegas. So, but I never thought I would see the day. Forget coaching plan, game plan, all the different coordinators, Billy calling the plays, Mertz, Lagway, whatever. Those are all factors. But I never thought I would see the day when the Florida Gators had what I've known to be Vanderbilt, Wake Forest, Rice level talent. And I'm sorry if you went to one of those schools and I'm offending you. It's not my intention. But I never thought I would see the day when Florida didn't have elite talent, didn't have good talent. Hays didn't have middle of the pack talent. Their players were clearly not as good as Texas A&M's players. Now, it looked like the game got close at the end because A&M wasn't A&M tried to lose the game. I'm not sure they're very good.
Yeah, A&M's had 7-5.
Yeah, but I never thought I would see the day when Florida's talent level, listen, I'm rooting for Pup Howard. He's a Jacksonville guy. Great kid, by the way. I had him in here. He was a student athlete of the week. Wonderful kid. I mean, great kid. Played at Jackson here in town, and by all accounts, one of the most likable guys you'll ever meet. But the reality is he couldn't get on the field at South Carolina. That wasn't Alabama, and I'm not knocking Pup. I think Pup's a wonderful kid. I'm just trying to be honest. And right now, he's one of Florida's 3 or 4 best players. And again, that's not knocking him. Maybe he goes on to play in the NFL. It's great. But you get my point. That Florida's, and whenever there's a good player, Princely or Chris McClellan, who's now at Missouri, who had 2 sacks the other day.
The Virginia Tech kid's been incredible.
The Virginia Tech defensive end.
Powell Ryland.
Yeah, who's got all the sacks.
Yeah.
Trevor Etienne looked fantastic for Georgia the other day. Whenever there's a star, they're gone, and what's left are Vanderbilt, Duke, Rice level football players. I never thought I would see the day that that's the level of play we have at the University of Florida in my lifetime, and that trumps all. Now, why it got that way? Was it the recruiting that bad? Was the development that bad? But I'm not even talking about coaching and scheme. I'm talking about the fact that every Miami player seemed better than every Florida player, and every Texas A&M player seems better than every Florida player too. It truly, truly, truly astounds me.
I agree. I mean, it's about as bad as it's ever been. You know, last year they were historically awful on defense, but they were starting and playing heavily so many true freshmen. So there was an element of it of, well, what did you expect? They're playing a bunch of kids out there, but it will get better as those kids develop and get a year older and they continue to bring in talent. It's just to me, it goes back to something I said after the Miami loss. I think Billy Napier looks at an average player and somehow sees a star. I just think his perception of talent never sharpened leaving Lafayette. I think his eye for talent is fine for Lafayette, but I think for an impactful player in the SEC, Billy Napier casts way too wide a net, thinking this can be an impact defender in the Southeastern Conference, when obviously they can't be. Slackman's done nothing, who they raved about, getting from the Ivy League. The Caleb Douglas, I mean, my God, that was about as bad a performance that you'll ever see a safety have in the swamp. He's a portal guy from Tulane. I just don't think he has a good eye for it. I think he's hired a miserable defensive staff from day one that's never gotten any better. And that's led to it as well. So it's just been a debacle on all areas defensively. He's actually won some fairly significant recruiting battles along the defensive front. But obviously the development is putrid.
That's right.
Because guys like Kelby Collins and Searcy and James, I mean, they'll have moments, but they should be like, if you were right on those players, then they should be making an impact their second year on campus. They don't have to be like all SEC, but you should see a big step forward. I don't think there's a single player on defense that you can say, wow, he really looks a lot better than he did last year. It's just been an utter failure on the defensive side of the ball. Even if Billy Napier was an offensive whiz, which he is far from, he's built a defense where you'd have to routinely score 45 points to win most of your games. Right. I mean, because, I mean, some of these teams are just calling off the dogs. I mean, Texas A&M's leading. They're up 20-0 at the half. So, I mean, they end up running for 310 yards with again, a backup quarterback starting.
That's the story.
Yeah, they're just pathetic on defense. Yeah. I mean, it's compounded by the fact that Napier has an elementary offensive mind, but he is a total F head coach at turning his defense over to the right people and identifying and developing talent.
In offense, you can hide talent a little bit with great scheme. Mike Leach never had great talent. Steve Spurrier didn't always have great talent. Hal Mumme at Kentucky didn't have great talent. Lincoln Riley. But you can hide it with scheme, and you can be a little bit ahead of the game with your pass, with your route tree. Defense, you can't hide it. It doesn't matter your scheme. Defense, it's all about the Jimmies and the Joes, all of it. All of it. I mean, all football is, but defense really is, and I don't think they have it. One final thought. I've tweeted about this. I've got to say this. To show how out of touch I think Billy Napier is. And look, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I would have played DJ Lagway the whole game. I would have said, he's my guy. Let's see what he can become. I think he's the future of the program. Graham Mertz is more limited. I would have played Lagway. I said that before, and I'll stand by it. But once you decided to alternate series, and that's what they did. It was every other series. That was Billy, typical Billy. It's my system, my process. I'm not changing it. Nothing. I'm not going to waver. But once you decide to play both, well, then the hot hands got to stay in there. Somehow, inexplicably, A&M let them back in the game. So Mertz leads them down on a touchdown drive. It's 33-13. Or correction, it's 33-20.
They were within 13.
Yeah, right. It was 33-20. Got them to a touchdown drive. A&M gets the ball back, misses another field goal. All of a sudden, there's 3:42 to play, and shockingly, Florida's now in it. How they're in it, I'll never know. But it's a 2-touchdown game. And look, they probably weren't going to win. It was going to take a touchdown. It was going to take an onside kick. You know the drill. But they were still in it.
We've seen it happen, though.
It's happened. Yeah. And so out comes the Gators, and he plays Lagway because it was his turn. Mertz was 12 of 15. Lagway, I think 5 of 11. You said maybe 6 of 13, but whatever. I think he was 5 of 11 at the time. Mertz was 12 of 15. He put Lagway because it was his turn. Lagway throws an interception, game over. And someone said, well, you're being a hypocrite. You wanted Lagway. No, I would have played Lagway the whole game. I stood by that. But once you decided to alternate them, you go with the hot guy, whichever it is, to try and win the game. Obviously, he was asked about it after the game, and his comment blew me away. He essentially said, we had made a decision to do it like this, quote, and I quote, regardless of the outcome. Regardless of the outcome's why you play. 90,000 people there were there because they cared about the outcome. He said, regardless of it's not a scrimmage. You're trying to win the game. Regardless of the outcome. You and I watched the game together. You had left early. Can't imagine why. And I sent you a text just to see if you had seen the quote.
Yeah.
Regardless of the outcome.
Luckily, air traffic controllers don't go by that philosophy.
I mean, or surgeons.
Yeah.
I mean, the outcome matters.
Right.
Hays,
that's something you say in week 2 of preseason.
Yes,
in the NFL.
yes. Look, I don't want to beat the guy up. He gets beat up enough, and I do think he's a good person, and I hope he is successful in life. I couldn't believe he said regardless of the outcome. What was he thinking?
Well, I mean, it's all excellent points because he is so dedicated to his plan. This is a coach that doesn't want to leave anything up to his gut, which has doomed him. I mean, it's one of many things that have doomed him, but Billy Napier has a plan, and he is going to stick with that plan. He would be a terrible movie director because he'd get on set and he'd be like, well, this is what the script calls for. This is what we're doing. And he'd have Al Pacino and Robert De Niro doing some great, improv with their lines. And he'd be like, Al, the script says you say we're going to the bank at 3. Don't deviate off it.
These
Meanwhile, everyone else is
making me
on
thirsty.
set can't believe the work Pacino's giving them. And it's like, no, the script says, and that is, you just can't operate that way. You can't be in a position of leadership like that and stick to a plan. You've got to have a feel. You've got to be willing to go with your gut. Billy Napier has no interest in doing that.
Regardless of the outcome.
Wow.
It stunned me. We'll take a break. Let's get back to Jaguar football. Bucky Brooks joins us. Is brought to you by Coyle & Sons, the terrific fence company here in town. That's next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
The weekly Pick'em contest. Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park. Pick the worst. You'll still win some pizza, just not enough for a party. Brought to you by MyBookie. Make your picks at 1010XL.com. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy one, get one 40% off replacement windows and doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Homeowners, good news for you. Accent on 4. Listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Prosser here. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted. So low, we haven't seen them in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.99% APR. So whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in process with another lender, stop now. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days, with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Call 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Owner approved credit, MLSconsumeraccess.org.
This is Hays Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. Right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the football season. Also enter their Swat That Kick Jaguars promotion at Jaguars.com for a chance to win 3 years of pest defense. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
The Sunshine State says it all in the nickname. That summer sun in Florida can take its toll on an air conditioning unit and send your electric bill through the roof. Florida Home AC can help you handle the heat with a brand new AC unit with low monthly payments and over $3,000 in federal tax credits on select systems. So this summer, don't sweat it out. Cool off with Florida Home AC, the official AC company of the Jaguars. Call them today, 777-4300, and check out their tremendous savings on a brand new AC system.
Ride the hurricane wave as the storm brews in South Beach.
Keeping you closer to the U with news and notes from the Orange and Green on the Hurricane Report on 1010XL.
Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is Hayden Hurst, NFL tight end. I just wanted to say how grateful I am for Dr. Lip and Active Health in Jacksonville. Wasn't sure where my career was going to go this offseason. Had a lot of issues with my back and right hip. Thought about hanging it up, but thanks to those guys, Dr. Lip, everybody at Active Health, they got me back to where I needed to be. So thankful for the Bulls pipeline connection. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't wait to see where this year takes me out in LA.
Active Health Jacks can help you too. Give them a call today at 904-296-0202 or go online activehealthjacks.com.
Hacker here, and I've got something to celebrate. Honestly, I never thought I'd be able to say this. I'm on the countdown to dropping 100 pounds. Yes, sir. 90 pounds already, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss, and I'm just 3 weeks away from hitting the big 100. The best part? I'm reaching that 100 mark in months, not years. Life-changing and life-saving. No doubt about it. I had pretty much given up on trying, but now I'm going to be here for my son, my wife, my family, and most importantly, for myself. I'm living my life to the fullest, and I didn't know just how easy it was to make happen with Awaken 180. When I hit that 100-pound mark, we're going to celebrate big. I'll keep you updated every week as I get closer, and you can even join in on the celebration. Details to come. In the meantime, pick up the phone and make your own 180. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Hurricane season is here, and now's the time to think about a home generator. My friends at Ricketts Electric can make sure your home always has power. They can install the perfect generator for your home and are even offering a 10% discount this month if you mention 1010XL. So call my friend Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960 or find them on Facebook. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them at 320-5960.
I'm Max Finke with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Florida Gators and Florida State Seminoles both look to be unsalvageable as the two teams have a 1-5 combined record, and it's only the middle of September. Starting in Tallahassee, Florida State was embarrassed as Memphis Tigers walked into Doak Campbell Stadium and took advantage of the Seminoles 20-12. Florida State played another sloppy game when the offense turned the ball over 3 times, while DJ Uiagalelei was sacked 4. FSU paid Memphis' athletic department $1.3 million for the loss, sending the Noles to 0-3. In Gainesville, Billy Napier and his dual quarterback strategy fell to Texas A&M and their backup quarterback 33-20. Napier's decision to switch back and forth between quarterbacks is being criticized, as Mertz went 12 of 15 with 195 yards and a touchdown and a pick, while Lagway was 6 of 13 with 54 yards, 1 TD, and 2 picks. The Gators fell to 1-2. It's 80 degrees at 5:02. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air & Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The buck stops here. Time now for Bucky Brooks, brought to you by Coyle & Sons, Jacksonville's commercial fence specialist, on The Frangie Show.
All right, thanks to my friends at Coyle & Sons. You can call them at 904-356-4821. They've been doing it since 1927. That is Jacksonville's commercial fence company, overhead doors. They've got it all. Some of my buddies in Jack's Golf own that company now, and they do a wonderful job since 1927. They've done a fantastic job. 904-356-4821. That's the number. Or you can log on to coiljacks.com. Let's bring in Bucky Brooks. Ooh, Buck, it was tough on the booth. I bet it was tougher on the sideline yesterday. What vibe did you get from the fellas down there? Was it it was quiet, wasn't it, for a while?
Yeah, it was quiet. Like, Frank, it's funny, right? Because I heard in the break you guys talking about Florida State and Florida and the losing, right? So both those teams have been losing. And what happens when you lose a little confidence each and every week. And even though we could sit here and say before the game that the Jags were 0-1, there's a bit of the hangover from last season that still kind of permeates the sideline, right? So when you talk about Trevor being 0-7 in his last 7 starts and all of the stuff that kind of is related to the collapse, that stuff still is kind of messing with the heads of the team right now. and I would say even affecting the head coach. And so what happens is when you start the game and you're looking for like energy, there's no energy. And let's be honest, there was no energy in the stands either. So for the home opener is not sold out. So you don't have a lot of like buzz and enthusiasm that you normally would have when you kick off the season in your own building. And so because of that, they kind of walked through the first half with no energy. And it took the play from Brian Thomas Jr. to finally get everyone kind of going. And from that point on, they played like we thought the Jags could play. But, man, you can't wait 2.5, 3 quarters before you start kind of playing. You kind of have to have that energy and urgency from the start.
Bucky, if you're Doug Peterson, do you talk about the 0-2 start and just sort of where you are 2 games behind Houston already? Obviously, now you need to win at least 9 of your final 15 to even have a chance at this thing. Too early for that? Do the players appreciate that? Or how would you handle that?
No, I think before you can even get to that, so here's what we always know about the NFL season. There are always going to be opportunity for the season to kind of come back to you. So if you're Doug Peterson and the coaching staff, you don't even think that far in advance. You think about the next game of the Buffalo Bills. And how can we get better when we play on a national stage on Monday night? What I do know about playing primetime games, every player in the National Football League looks forward to playing on Monday night because that's the one time that all eyes are on you. So the energy and stuff won't be an issue. It will just be the confidence that, hey, can we execute the game plan? Is the game plan the right one? Are we prepared and ready to play at our best? And can we execute it to a high level so we can knock off this team? That the energy won't be a problem because of Monday night. It's more so, can we finally get the execution to be at a level where you can win games?
Bucky Brooks with us talking Jaguar football. Hey, Buck, I thought about this, went back and watched the game again. The team, all offensive coaches want balance, run-pass balance, and I know that's what they want. My fear is this, and I want your take on it. Number one, they lost their best downhill runner on the opening kickoff, so they weren't going to be able to run downhill. I'm not sure it's a great offensive line to run the ball. I know you need – this isn't college. You can't go run the air raid and throw it 70 times. I know that. But I almost wonder, would they be better off maybe playing faster, maybe playing with some tempo, throwing it 3 or 4 times in a row, setting up the run with the pass rather than trying to be more conventional and balanced? And, again, I know it's easier said than done, but I almost think I'd rather see him put the ball in Trevor's hands, go fast, and see what happens. Am I way off the mark there?
No. So here's what's funny, Frank, and I know we always kind of harken back to 2022, right? Like it's nostalgic. It's almost as if it's a Super Bowl season. Right. But if you go back and you think about 2022, the way the offense looked, do you remember how many bubble screens and sideline-to-sideline plays we threw that year, that Zay Jones and Evan Ingram and all those guys? And that part was a bit of the running game. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen that yet. We saw them trying to throw a screen out to Parker Washington that was dropped, but that was a big part of the offense that first year when you talked about getting Trevor on track. And I think you are onto something because on Sunday, the offense didn't get going until you had a little tempo involved. Now, to play tempo, though, you got to at least get a first down to get it started.
Right.
And so they were able to get the first down. They went tempo, and I could see the effect that it had on the Browns. I also could see how Trevor is really comfortable playing faster. I think it's one of those things that when you're a coach, Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, they get together, they look at the offense, they're like, guys, maybe we need to jumpstart this thing by going a little tempo early or using it as a regular part of what we do. Because what tempo does is it simplifies everything in terms of what you're facing defensively. It kind of gives more control to the quarterback at the line of scrimmage to get them into the plays that they know. It also simplifies the offensive back because you can't run the full playbook when you're operating fast. When I hear Doug at the end of the game, it's like, well, maybe we just need to find a way to be even simpler. Tempo would kind of accomplish some of those things, but you got to be able to put 2 or 3 plays together to be able to stay in it because you got to get first downs to kind of make it happen.
When you watch Brian Thomas through these first 2 games, do you see a superstar in the making?
He's good, man. He's really good. I just want, and I kind of talked about this on the broadcast when I was talking to Frank, I'm field level, and he's coming towards me when that play is happening. And when the ball is up, I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at the receiver, at the DB, and I'm like, he ain't going to be able to get that ball. And he hits a gear in air that I think people that have been around the Jaguars, The last time you kind of see players like that is like Jimmy Smith used to do that all the time. The ball would float up. He's like, there's no way Jason was going to get that. He runs up under it. But it's not just the fact that he ran it down. It's how he ran it down and how within a step he was able to put the ball in the left hand and then stiff arm the guy. When people tell me, and I talked to Cortez Hankton, who was his coach at LSU, talked about how gifted and talented he was. They talked about the game is easy. It's just bringing the competitive dog out in him to go to the next level. He has all the traits and the tools. And I'm going to say this, it won't be long before he's the unquestioned number one receiver in this offense.
You know, Bucky, it's funny on that play, a hallmark of play-by-play. One of the things you always tell yourself as a play-by-play guy is let the play happen, don't anticipate. And we all do it sometimes, but we kick ourselves when we do. I'm an eyelash for saying overthrown to the play you're talking about. I'm like you, Buck. I thought there's no chance he catches that thing. And then all of a sudden he catches it. So he is that guy. I mean, I just – and Bucky was on the field feeling that way. I felt that way from the booth. It was an amazing play. Bucky, how do they get Christian Kirk going a little bit? And if they get Evan Ingram back, him too? Because those guys are critical parts. You've always said that offense goes through 17 and 13. They've kind of got to get those guys going, right?
Yeah, they got to get them going. And so, like, everyone is already worried about who's calling the plays or whatever. But all I know is this. On the generic play sheet, there has to be a little segment that says, get the ball to 13, get the ball to 7. And it's normally like a 6 or 8 play sequence where you have these plays that are just designed to – it takes the primary and to read out of it like, hey, we're going to throw a bubble screen, we're going to throw a hitch, we're going to throw something out to keep these guys in games. I'm going to say this, the fact that they have not been able to be a big part of it. I think in week 3, when you're struggling, you do a couple of different things. 1, you simplify what you're doing. 2, you make it about the best players. Hey, man, I don't know much, but the best players are going to dictate whether we win or lose this game. With a game that has, I would say, kind of make or break feel to it, I would expect to see Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram get a ton of targets. And I would say this, like people used to get mad when Mike Tyson talked about the Randy ratio. Mm-hmm. If collectively those guys don't have 15 targets, something is wrong. The ball has to go to them because they set up so much of what we do offensively. Sometimes you got to force feed it like, hey, we're going to throw the ball to Christian and Evan, and then we'll find the other guys. But I think Brian Thomas Jr. also is beginning to carve out a little slice on their play sheet where he also needs to get a handful of targets as well.
What's your evaluation of the offensive line so far?
It hasn't been good enough, and it hasn't been good enough not just because they haven't been able to dominate in the trenches. I will say this, 74 and 77 haven't played well enough. Cam Robinson and Anton Harrison have not played well enough. There are too many plays where you see those guys spinning around, looking around, not finishing their blocks. Your team is determined by your best players, and your best players have to play well. Cam Robinson was expected to be one of the best offensive linemen. Anton Harrison is a first-round pick. Those guys have to play well each and every week. That's the expectation. And there are other guys that we can call and we'll eventually get to that have to play well. Those 2 guys have to play better. And if they play better, the offense will operate better. But right now, the offensive tackles have to play better because right now Trevor is running for his life within the pocket.
I don't think there's any question about that. Final thing, Bucky, how do they match up against Buffalo? Buffalo looks awfully good in the early going.
Yeah, they look awfully good, but I mean, I'll be honest, like they're doing it by committee. The Arizona Cardinals jumped out on them early. The Buffalo Bills tracked them down and walked them down. I felt like we staggered the Miami Dolphins. They knocked them out, like because that was a game where we were donkey kicking them on the Sunday. They come back on Thursday night, and the Buffalo Bills just did a continuation of what the Jaguars started. So everyone is going to write the Jaguars off going on Monday night, talk about how good the Buffalo Bills are, whatever. And they are good, but their personnel isn't what it once was. I think we actually match up really well with them, particularly defense on offense. You got to deal with the quarterback. But then offensively, we haven't played anywhere close to our potential. Their defense is good, but they play what I call a team defense. They don't have really star power on defense. Von Miller's an aging star. Greg Rousseau is a good player, not quite great yet. This is one where I think on a Monday night, big energy, big stage, if the Jaguars can get this one, it gives them the energy that they need to get Houston the following week. So I don't want to put too much on this, But, man, if you can get this one, it really sets you up to have a really big game the following Sunday against the Houston Texans.
Week from tonight, it's the Jags and the Bills. Bucky Brooks checking in from the NFL Network and the Jaguars Radio Network. Buck, thanks, buddy. See you next week.
Hey, man. Talk to you.
All right. Bucky Brooks checking in. Once again, it's brought to you by our friends at Coyle & Sons, Jacksonville's commercial fence company, as well as overhead doors. You can call them at 904-356-4821. If you need a fence now, commercial fencing, that's the number, 904-356-4821. Project managers, owners, builders, that's the number to call. You can learn more by going to coiljacks.com. At the bottom of the hour, Hays is going to have headlines for you. But when we come back, let's talk some Seminole football on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
He may have started his career somewhere else, but he found his home in Duval.
Join me, Jeff Logman, for Check the Tape Tuesday on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Jack's Napa Auto Care Group.com. Go to the pros Napa know-how on 1010XL.
Nick in here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores.
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988. So call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Family, football, and Friday night traditions connect the past with the present.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
With Hacker and Andrew Gibson, presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Denny Thompson here. They're still growing. Tyson Sound and Security is looking to hire a master electrician. Are you or someone you know a master electrician with residential experience? Candidate will start at the industry's most competitive pay. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call to apply 762-1000. Tyson Sound and Security hiring a master electrician offering top-notch industry pay. Call to apply 762-1000. Equal opportunity employer.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Football is back. Winning season is back. MyBookie's here to make sure you're ready to cash in on the action. This season, MyBookie is pulling out all the stops with incredible promotions like weekly risk-free boosts on Thursdays, where you can bet without a sweat. If your bet hits, you win big, and if it doesn't, forget it. MyBookie will refund your wager. But that's just the beginning. MyBookie is giving away hundreds of thousands in prizes with their Super Survivor and Squares contests. Get your entries in now for a shot at huge cash rewards. For a limited time, they are bringing back the double deposit bonus when you're ready to get started. Use my promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit with promo code 1010XL before you even place a bet. Remember, exclusive giveaways and bigger rewards. MyBookie is the lock of the century. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and make sure your season is a winning one.
Make your dream of living in luxury a reality in Lennar's newest 55 and up active adult community, Edenbrook at Highland Trail. Located in the heart of Green Cove Springs, Edenbrook offers world-class amenities with a dedicated activities director and homes starting in the high 300s. With rates as low as 3.99% and up to $50,000 in flex cash on our new Edenbrook homes, the time to buy is now. Call 904-643-3750 to find out more. Your life of luxury awaits in Edenbrook at Highland Trail by Lennar.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
The $580 no-limit Hold'em Mega Satellite with a 5 guarantee into the World Poker Tour main event. That happens this Thursday at 6 o'clock. Always fun stuff going on at the Best Bet. 3 great locations. St. Augustine on I-95. Orange Park right there on US 17. And, of course, on Monument Road here in Jacksonville. So the Noles are 0-3. Here's what I will tell you. If you'd have told me the Jags would start 0-2, I wouldn't have expected that, but I wouldn't have been shocked. We knew the first 4 games were going to be hard. If you'd have told me the Gators were going to go in the tank, I wouldn't have been totally shocked. I didn't think it'd look like this. I thought the Gators would be better. I thought they'd win 7 or 8 games. But if you'd have told me, nah, they're going to start really badly, I'd have been surprised, but not shocked. I've been surprised. I thought the Gators would be 7 or 8 wins this year. Obviously, they're not. But if you'd have told me Florida State was going to be 0-3, it would have been the biggest surprise to me of anything football related around here in a long time. They lose again to Memphis. Memphis kind of dinked and dunked them, but Memphis had a really good quarterback, Seth Hennigan, who was very good. They controlled the game. They led the whole game. FSU somehow got back in it, but Memphis held on. They're now 0-3 of the Noles. And I got to tell you, I will say they caught a few bad breaks. This is a really good Memphis team, better than most, probably similar to the Mike Norvell's last team here, which is what got him the Florida State job. So here comes Cal, probably the best Cal team in 20 years. Cal's 3-0. They've already won at Auburn. They just beat someone 31-14 the other day. They can't wait to get to Tallahassee. Now, when I saw Memphis and Cal, I thought those were easy wins for FSU. Part of it's because I thought FSU would be better. But the other part of it is I had no idea that Memphis and Cal were pretty good. SMU, you had heard whispers they may be okay. But I'm not. I think Memphis and Cal are both better than SMU because they're both pretty good. So the Noles could be 0-4. In fact, I think a lot of people expect that, even though they're favored, a lot of people think they may turn out to be 0-4.
Yeah, because it's such a slight favorite right now, just a couple of points. And, again, you have to factor in Cal is traveling across the country.
Again.
So if it was a neutral field, let's say in Dallas, what would the line be? I mean, to me, Florida State, the good news is it looks like you found your run defense.
Right.
The
they were the more
defensive
physical
front,
team.
I thought was much better than what we'd seen against Georgia Tech and Boston College. So, Memphis only ran it 65 yards on 32 carries. Now 8 of that is Hennigan and getting sacked -7, whatever. But for the most part, Florida State did an outstanding job.
They stuffed the run.
On the run. And so that was a really good sign. The problem is Florida State offensively is completely broken. How would you have ever imagined Memphis coming in to Doak Campbell and Florida State rushing for 37 yards in a game? And again, even if you take out DJU's -16, which again, it's ridiculous that we count that on rushing yards, but whatever, we do. They still only have 53 yards. I mean, that's pathetic for Florida State not able to move Memphis off the ball. And obviously Uiagalelei is that was just a complete whiff on that evaluation. But again, I don't think it's only him. I mean, their offensive line is atrocious. They have no confidence. They've got a first-team All-American kicker, but you fumble a punt when it looks like you're starting to turn the game because one of your guys on punt return runs into the guy trying to make the catch. So it's just such a poor football team right now. But I mean, I think if you're Cal, you're saying if we can get 17 points on the board, we're going to be in great shape Saturday.
And Cal's very good defensively. Again, I kick myself. We should have seen the signs. I said this about Florida. We saw Cam Jackson, Caleb Banks, Big Dez play the last 2 years. They weren't very good. Yet I taught myself even though they were still going to be the key guys on that defensive front, Jake Slaughter, the center, wasn't very good. He's the center again. I taught myself into the fact that they would be good this year. Well, Richie Leonard didn't block anybody in 3 years at Florida. Transferred to FSU and won a starting job immediately on that offensive line. And you and I even kind of joked about it a little bit. Well, they'll make him good. Well, the truth is he's an average player at best. He's not a very good player, and he's a starter on that FSU offensive front. That should have been telltale a little bit. That maybe this incarnation of FSU, this roster is not what the past ones have been. The other thing is they got to play the other quarterbacks. You got Brock Glenn is very athletic. DJ is not. DJ Uiagalelei is another one of those guys who, if your team's really good and you can be the game manager and take some deep shots, he's pretty good. Smart kid, tough kid, big arm, so he throws the ball down the field very well. But in terms of running the game, can't make any plays with his legs. He's not very athletic. He misses on some throws. Quarterbacks have an it about them. Jordan Travis was the ultimate it guy.
Well, and obviously is the greatest player in college football history.
Yeah, given
based on what we've seen before he was the starter for Norvell and what Norvell is without him.
Right, but he had a great it about him. DJ has none of that. So I would play Brock Glenn. Ultimately I'd play Luke Kromenhoek. I would say now. Look, the season's over.
Right.
You're 0-3. You're not going to win at Miami. You're not going to win at Notre Dame. So that's at least 5 losses. I don't think you win at home against Clemson. So
they might not beat Cal.
Yeah.
They might not beat North Carolina.
I'm not.
They
sure.
might not win at SMU.
Yeah. So
they'll beat Florida.
Yeah.
But I mean, there really aren't very many you can hang your hat on.
So point being, if you're 0-3 in college football in a 12-game season, you're headed to a mediocre season at best. Why not use this? You've now got the equity. Mike Norvell's not going anywhere.
Right.
Why not use this to test your young quarterbacks and play them? I can't imagine that he wouldn't now. I'm not saying change the starter, but I can't imagine now as you move forward. The problem is it sure would be nice to have a Charleston Southern now instead of right before Florida so you could test them. The problem is you have Cal, who's pretty good, very good defensively.
They won at Auburn.
Right. Then and now you're at SMU. Then you're home against Clemson. Then Duke's not great, but you're at Duke against Manny Diaz. Then it's Miami. Then it's North Carolina. Then you're at Notre Dame. So there's not a test time. There's not a practice game in here for Florida State. But I think you got to play Brock Glenn. You're not DJ Uiagalelei throws a better ball. He's bigger. He's more experienced. He throws a better ball than – I don't know if he throws a better ball than Luke, but he throws a better ball than Brock Glenn. But you're not going to win with him very often. It's just not going to happen. I think I said the same thing about Graham Mertz. I'll say the same thing now. And again, I'm not saying I don't know enough about Brock Glenn to say give him the ball and make him the quarterback. When he played a little bit last year, he wasn't very good. But I would certainly see what I've got in him because I don't think you're winning with DJ.
I would agree. I will say if they don't generate a ground game, none of it will matter.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, you've now started Uiagalelei 3 times and you've lost all 3. And really, to be honest, he's been mediocre to bad in all of them. He'll have moments where he rolls out and throws on the run and maybe throws a nice ball to the sideline. But, I mean, they're 2 of 12 on 3rd down. I mean, are you telling me Brock Glenn or Luke Kromenhoek can't give you 2 of 12? Right. And to your point, I mean, again, you have to look at it from big picture. Mike Norvell has a 10-year deal. I mean, he knows he's the coach next year. So, I mean, you may not like having the conversation with your seniors, and they've got a ton of them. I mean, I remember in camp being shocked at all the redshirt seniors that Florida State has across their depth chart.
Right.
I mean, they're going to have 27 guys on senior day, and this is what you're producing? I mean, at this point, if you're Norvell, you got to have tough conversations, not with just your quarterback, but kind of down the line. And you've got to really figure out, okay, the 2025 season has kind of begun because you've got to figure out who are the guys that I can count on, who's the nucleus for next year's team, because you're going to get this mulligan, but it can't look like this next year.
Well, that's right.
I mean, you've got to get it fixed. And so, yeah, I think a youth movement would do you a lot of good because, I mean, your best case right now is a 6-6 season.
1 segment to go. Hays is going to wrap the program with headlines. That's after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
2 weeks remaining in the regular season of Major League Baseball, and the Los Angeles Dodgers remain the betting favorite to win this year's World Series. The Dodgers at plus 330, while the Philadelphia Phillies, who lead the NL East, are plus 450. The Yankees remain the best bet out of the American League to claim this year's championship at plus 480. The Houston Astros are plus 800. The Baltimore Orioles, second behind the Yankees in the AL East, are plus 850, while the San Diego Padres, second behind the Dodgers in the NL West, are plus 1,300 to win this year's World Series. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
Are your toilets flushing slow? Shower drain starting to back up? Bad smells? These are all major signs that your septic tank needs to be pumped out. Call Duck Duck Rooter to schedule today. The EPA recommends you get your septic tank pumped out every 3 years. Call now if it's due. 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Rooter is Northeast Florida's only master septic contractor that is fully insured. See our Google reviews. Visit duckduckrooter.com. 904-862-6769.
Frank Frangie here. It's truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done, like a brand new Silverado 1500. This month, save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado. For well-qualified buyers, you get rates as low as 1.9% financing, no payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado pickup trucks. Shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Post-game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation, with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguards your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley have been helping first-time home buyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time home buyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time home buyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time home buyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time home buyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time home buyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say,
"What? Huh? I'm so over this."
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Rami Elabu, 309-9077.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Waltz. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Jacksonville contractors and business owners. Do you need chain link fence, commercial steel, or rolling doors? Frank Frangie here. Coyle & Sons has been in business in Jacksonville since 1927. They've earned the reputation of quality and specialized skill. Coyle & Sons are the ones trusted in Jacksonville by the top contractors, and they can stand on their reputation when you need almost 100 years of commercial contractor experience. So contact Coyle & Sons today. That's 904-356-4821 or visit them at coiljacks.com.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mac and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars, to trucks, to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
Ever wondered what heaven smells like? Come explore Crowned Head Cigars on Saturday, September 21st from 1 to 4 p.m. at Tobacco Cove, 3849 Bay Meadows Road, and find out. We've got the Mil Diaz, so smooth it's like a spa day for your taste buds. The Mil Diaz Maduro, rich enough to make a chocolate bar jealous. And Tim Osgener's Aramis, so bold they'll make you rethink your life's choices. As always, there will be great deals, food, and prizes you'll want to brag about. See you at Tobacco Cove, where every puff is a party.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan,
head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars tight end Evan Ingram suffered a hamstring injury in pregame warm-ups before Sunday's game against the Browns. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson on the impact of Ingram's injury.
Obviously, when you lose a player like Evan, it can definitely take a little wind out of your sail, just a little bit. He's a leader. It's a big loss. But that's the thing. We could have lost him in pregame. We could have lost him the first play of the game, and you got to continue to play. So we can't let things like that affect us. We definitely hate it and don't like it for Evan, obviously. And now we got to see moving forward where he's at.
Peterson, courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Barra & Barra, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. We've got Frank Frangie, JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we'll start with the Jaguars. Doug Peterson did a Zoom with reporters today after yesterday's disappointing loss to Cleveland. And the injury report actually doesn't look too bad. Evan Ingram, it seems like a little dicey, but hopefully they're going to be able to have him against Buffalo. Tank Bigsby, Andre Sisco, Anton Harrison, Gabe Davis, all fine.
Yeah, and that's good because you need all those guys back. You need all you got against Buffalo. And again, if you change up a little bit, you got a good football team against a very good football team. It'll be fun to watch.
Let's get to around the NFL. The Houston Texans have opened up a 2-game lead on everybody in the AFC South. They beat the Bears last night on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, it turned out to be a pretty good game.
Yeah.
The Bears hung around in that game. It was kind of fun to watch. Look, the Texans are pretty good. They were pretty good last year, and I still say the Jags are the second best team in that division. We'll see if they can play with the Texans or not. It's very early. We're 2 games in, but I'm not surprised. I didn't predict the Texans come back to earth like many did. I think they got a good team.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a rough day for both the Titans and the Colts. The Titans, Will Levis with just another inexplicable turnover that really drew the ire of his head coach,
ticked, wasn't he?
Ryan Callen.
Dumb.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then you've got Anthony Richardson throwing 3 interceptions up at Lambeau. They lose to Malik Willis, who only had to throw like 14 passes in the game. So 2 tough losses there for those teams. So the Jaguars have a little bit of company in their misery at 0-2. But yeah, just definitely disappointing to be 2 games back of Houston, 2 in. I'll give Pete Prisco a lot of credit for this. He picked this. He had the Vikings upsetting the 49ers, and that's exactly what happened, thanks in part to a 97-yard touchdown bomb from Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, the Vikings have a pretty good – I thought going in the Vikings would have a pretty good team other than quarterback. I didn't know if J.J. McCarthy would be ready as a rookie. Turns out he got hurt, so Sam Darnold, who's been around the league enough now, they have a pretty good team. If Sam Darnold plays to a good level, they'll have a good season. But that's a good division, too, by the way.
Absolutely. Key injury news today. The Kansas City Chiefs placed running back Isaiah Pacheco on injured reserve with a fibula injury. Boy, that's a tough one. They're starting to get beat up.
I heard they're getting Kareem Hunt back, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because I will tell you, that's a big injury. I know everyone says as long as you have Mahomes and Kelsey, you're fine. But Pacheco quietly had become a really, particularly after Tyreek Hill was gone, because he's a burst guy. I know he's a running back and Tyreek's a receiver, but he's that little burst guy that Tyreek was at a different position. That's going to hurt them. That's a big loss.
The Carolina Panthers have seen enough of Bryce Young benching the former number 1 pick just in his second year for Andy Dalton. But Bryce Young has really struggled. Carolina's going to let him watch the veteran for a little bit.
Yeah, Andy Dalton, he's turned in his AARP card to play quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. That one surprised me this early in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Week 2 wraps tonight with Falcons at Eagles. Who do you like?
The Eagles. I think the Eagles have kind of refound themselves a little bit. I think the Eagles have a pretty good team. I think you're going to see I think the Eagles are a Super Bowl contender. They got to get A.J. Brown back. They got to be healthy, but I think they're a Super Bowl contender.
Let's get into college football. We've talked Gators and Noles, but how about Georgia surviving a scare at Kentucky? They did drop to number 2 in the poll, but showed a lot of guts to pull it out.
I'll say this about the Georgia Bulldogs. They have one of those games every year. Last year it was Missouri. 2 years ago it was Kentucky. It's been Kentucky a few times. Everybody has a scary game, but Georgia always wins. Georgia, I don't care if it's 13-12 or 45-10. The win counts the same, and Georgia finds a way. Think about it. All these last 3 or 4 years, Georgia finds a way to not get upset. I remember they got upset by South Carolina 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. But they normally find a way not to be the team that loses that game.
Without a doubt. Well, Gator fans, we know you're depressed, so today's flashback is for you because 29 years ago today, this happened.
The crowd is really into it right now. And he steps away from the pressure. His pass is off. It is incomplete. They're going to call it complete? Yes. They call it complete and a fumble. And Joey Kent is hurt. It is a fumble after a completed forward pass.
Well, Manning scrambling sets this play up. He's going to scramble this way. Kent's going to come right at us. But Lawrence Wright from the left side, number 4, is going to deliver a blow that shakes the ball loose.
And shook the stadium.
And paved the way for the Gators to score. How many in a row?
48.
48 straight points. They were down 30-14. They suddenly looked up and led 62-30. Tennessee got an O, by the way, at the end of the game. Gators win at 62-37. Possibly my favorite Gator game ever.
Yeah.
It might be, of all of them, it might be my favorite one ever. 48 straight, because Tennessee was good now.
Oh, yeah, they were 8th in the country. Florida was 4th.
Yeah, so Florida 62, Tennessee 37 might be my favorite. It's certainly on the ballot of my favorite all-time Gator game. I guess 52-20 should be all of our favorite game, but that's right there.
Without a doubt. Hard to believe 29 years ago, and if you're a Vols fan, don't worry because you'll hang 62 on Florida in a couple weeks when they come up to Rocky Top.
Maybe in the first half.
Yes. We were talking about that with Graham back in the back.
Yeah.
And Dave Waters, our friend Dave Waters from Gator Breakdown. Dave's in Knoxville.
Oof.
Can you imagine how many they're going to try and score?
They asked Kent State if they wanted a running clock.
I saw that.
They won't ask the Gators that.
Can you imagine how many Tennessee is going to try and hang on the Gators?
Yeah. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Because every Tennessee fan is telling Heupel,
there's not enough points.
What this guy Spurrier did to us?
Yeah.
Josh, don't stop.
Yeah.
You want to keep your job?
Yep.
You want me to keep my donation? Don't stop.
Yep, and they won't. And it will be ugly. It will be ugly. Pop culture. I don't know if you saw Jane's Addiction here at Daly's Place back on August 27th, but if you did, you probably saw one of their final concerts. Lead singer Perry Farrell went after guitarist Dave Navarro at his show in Boston over the weekend, and today the band canceled the remaining dates of their reunion tour. This was their first tour in 14 years, but Perry Farrell in the middle of a song just goes off and punches Dave Navarro.
How about that? Their teammate. We're not going to punch on the show, are we?
I hope not.
It's almost like there was a reason they weren't together for 14 years.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about that? They were just in Jacksonville like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, on this show, Hays and I would look at each other, JJ, go, you want to fight? Nah, we're good.
Nah, we're good. Nothing in the face.
Yeah, keep on.
Right, absolutely. We'll get you out on the musical note of the day. This is for the Stranger Things fans out there. Great show that will be back shortly because on this date back in 1985, Kate Bush released her 5th album called Hounds of Love, while the lead single on that album was Running Up That Hill, which no one really knew about for 40 years until Stranger Things used it in a massively important part of the storyline for many episodes this past season. Again, fantastic show, and it's a good song, but it's amazing how Stranger Things completely resurrected this back into pop culture relevancy. It was like it started charting for Kate Bush. She actually made a lot of money on it, but anyway, if you're a Kate Bush fan, the song came out in 1985.
All right, fair enough, and it has been recycled, as it were. Nice job on headlines, as always. That is Hays Headlines for the day. All right, almost out of time. JJ, where have we been?
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, it's been a good show today. We talked all about Jaguar football and some of the concerns. Hays and I went through what we'd like to see happen. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a little bit of tempo, maybe a little more pass to set up the run. I think it's going to be tough to run the ball for a while here, so I'd probably like to see him throw it a little bit more. We talked about the Gators and the fact that Florida's become Vanderbilt. Florida just doesn't have the level of player at almost any level, any position that the good teams in this country have, and you could really see it. Is it time for FSU to bench DJ Uiagalelei and play Brock Glenn? I think that it is. We certainly talked about that, and we looked ahead to what's coming up in the world of the NFL in headlines. Almost out of time now. It'll be interesting to see. Do you anticipate, as we move forward, much change to how the Jaguars are going to look, how they play? Do you think they'll more tempo?
I mean, maybe slightly, but I don't.
I mean, they're not going to make. You can't make personnel changes. Your team's your team.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I think no. I think it will be maybe a slight tweak, but I would be surprised if watching the Bills game if it's like, wow, this looks a lot different.
Bucky Brooks was with us today. It's another thing we did during the day today, and he made an interesting point. If the Jags can find a way to beat Buffalo, and I told, by the way, during the broadcast, well, I say during the broadcast, before we went on the air, we were talking to some of the people in the studio in our booth, and one of the guys in the booth said, "Boy, you need this one. Oh, you can't lose this one." Talking about the Browns game, and I said to him, "The league is so weird. The way the NFL goes, you'll lose today. You'll get upset by the Browns, and then you go win in Buffalo.
Absolutely,
because that's what the NFL is.
I might pick the Jags because it is how weird. It's the perfect
NFL formula.
It's the perfect. Boy, you just never know on any given week in the NFL what's going to happen. It wouldn't be to me. It wouldn't be surprising at all as a 6-point dog if the Jaguars won that game.
Yeah. Now, and Bucky's point was if you win that game, then you go to Houston with some confidence. Like I said, maybe I'm wrong and the Jags aren't nearly as good as I thought. But you don't know that 2 games in.
Right.
If you look up and you're 2-7 at some point, well, then I was wrong and the Jags aren't nearly as good as I thought. But you don't know. That's certainly something you don't know 2 games in.
Well, and the Jags will have to have the game. The Bills don't have to have the game. And that does make a difference in the NFL, even in Week 3.
All right. Let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers, the exclusive provider of BioTarget regenerative therapy for pain. Visit GoBioTarget.com for a location near you.
The Jags, Gators, and Noles are 1-7.
Yeah.
You know what the Jags and the Noles did wrong? Didn't schedule Sanford. Y'all should have scheduled Sanford. Yeah. That's my recommendation to you, Ballou.
Is it hockey season yet?
My goodness. What'd you take of the Jaguar game?
Still very surprised, almost to the point of shocked. And this one's real difficult to swallow. They look disinterested on offense in the first half, and for the first time, I really have questions about everything. I think defensively now, consecutive games, they've played well enough to win. They haven't been perfect on defense, but, you hold these opponents to 20 points and 18 points. That should be good enough to win in the NFL with Trevor Lawrence and what they have here offensively. So, I'm with you. This Buffalo game now, I've never been a big fan of must win, but they have to pull off an upset now. I had them going 1-3 in September or their first 4 games. I had them winning yesterday. I had them winning big, but I thought they'd lose at Buffalo, lose at Houston, and as I've said many times, I thought the schedule becomes more manageable. They'd win 5 out of the last 6 and end up going 10-7 to make it to the playoffs. But now all of a sudden they have pressure where you better win Monday or you better win next Sunday in Houston. If not, that's going to be tough starting this year 0-4.
Yeah, you're right. 0-4 is tough. Again, we had the stat. D-Rock had it. No team has started 0-4 and gone to the playoffs. What did you say, 92?
92 Chargers.
Since 1992, Rick. I wouldn't have thought it was that long, but it was. All right, coming up tonight, Jaguar talk?
Yeah, all that. Ton of football here over the next couple hours. We'll try to figure out what's going on and, play another game week from tonight, hope for a better result.
All right, Rick Ballou, he goes into the night. That comes up right now. That'll do it for our program. Tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel. Old friend Tony Barnhart joins us tomorrow. He'll be part of the Woolsey Morecambe College Football Report. Matt Hays will be by to talk SEC football. We've got a Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. We're busy, and we like it that way. We're out of here. Don't go anywhere. Rick's next. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less.